is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe, NEVERsate.com, and today I want to take a couple minutes just to talk to you guys about a couple core variations that you guys see me doing in my workouts that maybe you guys are not doing. I get a lot of DMs, a lot of emails, a lot of messages, people just asking me, you know, I've never seen that before, could you possibly do a tutorial? Just give us some idea on how to scale it or whatever the case may be. So I just thought I would take a quick video, show you guys a couple of these variations. Now these ones in particular that I'm gonna be talking about are gonna be more focused on like your obliques, so they're gonna be more twisty things as opposed to bendy things. Now, as far as the hierarchy of core stuff, I think the obliques are oftentimes very much underrated because everyone just wants that six pack and whatever the case would be. However, since I have been training, I've focused so much on my obliques and a lot of twisting exercises because my background was in MMA and stuff like that, so I always wanted to use the core variations of my exercises to build up punching power or kicking power or throwing power, that type of stuff. So it became very, very apparent to me very early that obliques made a huge difference when it came to explosiveness. And then when it comes to weightlifting, things like that, when people talk about the explosiveness in your hips is kind of synonymous with butt in weightlifting circles. I'm distracted. But whenever you're training to do something athletic, your obliques play such a massive role, mainly because your hips can't explode if your obliques are kind of wobbly like jello. These are facts. So I would highly encourage you guys start taking your oblique training a little bit more seriously because it will very much translate over into both athletic and just overall weight power. So the very first one that I want to talk about is actually one that Uncle Nick came up with, and that is the glute ham raise halo.
I don't know if I actually came up with it, but I didn't say anybody else do it, that's all I'm saying.
He came up with it. Now before I even get into this and you guys decide to turn off the video because you do not have a glute ham raise, do not worry, you don't need one. You can actually use a decline bench. You don't even need a decline bench. You can absolutely just hook your feet underneath your power rack or anything that is going to anchor your feet down just like you're doing a normal sit-up. That said, I will say that the glute ham raise version is absolutely the toughest, so if you do have access, I would tell you to try that. Now, once you have your feet locked in or anchored down, however you're gonna do it, I would highly recommend that you grab a plate smaller and lighter than you actually think you can do. This is a tough one. So basically what I want you to do is hold that plate just like you have a steering wheel, put it on your right hip, then as you lean back like you're gonna do a glute ham raise sit-up, you're gonna start rotating that plate behind your head, like you're moving it around the equator or giving yourself a halo, hence the name, people. But once you've taken it back around your head, you're gonna take it all the way to the other left side of your hip, touch that hip, and then reverse that motion back. From there, it's just pretty much rinse and repeat. Now, it is very important to note here that you will get the best results from this if you try to take that plate and really reach down behind your head. If you're just trying to keep it on top of your head or just behind your head, you will get some results from it, but it is not nearly as tough as if you are literally searching, trying to like scratch your back with that plate. Very, very tough, very, very good. Give it a try. Second variation I want to talk about are bandy twisty things, or at least that is what I call them because I'm smart. Now you guys recently saw these on one of my training videos and my Instagram, so a lot of people reached out to me. All you're gonna do with this is take a resistance band and tie it off to either the bottom of a rack or the top of a rack. You can do this from whatever angle or whatever you wanna do. My personal favorite is going from the bottom up to the top. So I tie off to the bottom of the rack and then I simply step out to get a little bit of tension on the band, but not so much that I can't actually twist with it. Also, when it comes to this, you want to keep in mind that this is a movement for explosiveness. It is not a movement where you're trying to grind things out. If you guys would rather do this with something like a cable machine, then you can absolutely do that and adjust the weight. If you want to grind it out, do that. If you're gonna do it with bands, do not try to grind anything out with bands when you're talking about something associated with twisting like this. This needs to be explosive. So drop the resistance on the band until you get this down. You can add it as you go, or even better, keep the same band, just take a little bit more of a step back, a little bit more of a step back. Trust me, if you're doing them correctly, these will be plenty hard on their own. But once you have got the resistance worked out, all that I want you to do is tap the ground, turn and put your hands behind you, tap the ground again, turn and put your hands behind you on the other side. This one's a tough one to remember. Now, a couple things I want you guys to think about here and also in other oblique exercises that involve twisting is that your head will always follow your body. This is exactly why police officers do not want you driving in the lane right next to them when they have someone pulled over. It's because you look at them and the head follows the body. Good vibes! This is also why I recommend on the farmer's walk or the yoke walk to not look at the finish line. I want you to look through the finish line because much like the cop situation, if you're looking down, your whole body is going to follow your head. That is exactly not what you want. Now, we can use that same principle for a good way here in the oblique exercise in that when you twist, you will get much more torque and power in it if you turn your head. A lot of people try to turn their hips without moving their feet or moving their head. both of which is not going to go very well. That's exactly why I'm not good at dancing. So as you initiate that twist, I want you to turn your head and look behind you. Also, I want your hands pointed outward. Don't try to do it like this. That's stupid, don't do that. The second point that I really want you to think about is this is just like throwing a punch or any type of ballistic hip movement. The basic idea here is that if you keep your feet in place, you can't move your hips. So what you need to do is pivot one of those feet. On this case, it's going to be the opposite foot of where you're going to be pointing your hands. So if you're twisting to your left, your right foot is going to pivot like you were trying to squish a bug. Also, when I taught martial arts, this is how I taught little kids to punch. Squish the bug and look where you're going. From there, it's really just a battle of getting used to that band pulling you around and you twisting and you getting dizzy and everything else, but it's a great exercise, not only for your obliques, but also you can throw it in as like a 30-second type of thing, and it will absolutely smoke you as far as conditioning is concerned. The next one up is the overhead side bend. Now, this is a variation. I know a lot of people, like I talked about earlier in the video, a lot of people have done a side bend, weighted side bend with like a dumbbell or a kettlebell where they hold at their side and they just kind of bend over. This is going to be a much different experience than that. So what I want you to do is grab something lighter than you think. Whatever you're thinking right now, go lighter. Probably lighter than that. Now, once you take that item and extend it over your head, just like you were in an overhead press, you're gonna open that window, push your head out, so literally from the side, I should be able to see your face, your ear, everything should be out there. Now, all I want you to do is literally just bend over. But of course, nothing is really ever that simple, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is spread your legs out a little bit at the beginning. Now, this is gonna make you use your obliques much less. However, this is so much harder than you think it is. Bring your legs out a little bit just for balance. Now, the second thing I want you to realize is that you're probably trying to bend forward. You should probably stop doing that as well because that would be considered wrong. And the third and funniest thing that I think you should do on this is videotape yourself because it's gonna feel like you are literally cranked all the way sideways, like you are parallel to the ground, when in reality, you're kind of like this. But if you do pay attention to those rules and you do keep things a little bit lighter than you want to, you can use this as an addition so much for your obliques. It will hit them super, super hard, but if you go too heavy, you will not hit your obliques. Just throw the ego out the door, give it a try. It's just gonna be a lot lighter than you think. The next one that I wanna mention is the full contact twist. Now, this is actually an exercise that I got literally like 12 years ago off of T Nation, all right? They came up with it, I did not come up with it, but it's a great exercise. Now, all you're gonna need for this is literally a barbell and a corner. If you do have a landmine, it can go a little bit smoother for you, but it's not necessary. Necessary, man, use your words.
Focus.
But anyway, what you're gonna do with that barbell is once you have it in place, you're gonna turn your back to it. You're gonna hold it with two hands. Now, I will tell you, whichever way you're turning, if you're gonna spin to your left, put your right hand on top. If you're gonna spin to your right, put your left hand on top. Otherwise, your hand's getting this weird little stupid, just trust me on it. Remember, turn to your left, right hand on top, turn to your left, right, left. Do that. You should probably rewind this. Yeah. Anyway, on this one, you're also gonna have to apply the principles of turning your head and squishing the bug, just like on the bandy twisty things, but this is a great way to apply some weight to a similar exercise. Great for building punching, kicking, throwing power, swinging power for any type of ball, bat, golf, swinging, but it's good. It's a good exercise.
Narrowed that down.
But the whole idea here is that you're just gonna turn that barbell and point it directly behind you 180 degrees. You're gonna start with that in front of you, turn and point it behind you, return to the front position. Once you finish your number of reps and sets, switch the other side, you just gotta twist the other way. These are an awesome exercise that I really don't do enough, mainly because I forget that it exists. That actually happens with a lot of good exercises. But you should definitely give it a try. And finally, again, like on Instagram and in my training video, I did some windshield wipers and got just bombarded with questions about how to scale that exercise. So the basic idea here, a lot of people tell you to do these on the floor, just laying flat and flopping your legs from side to side. And honestly, I really don't like that much. I don't think that really engages your core much at all. If you actually do it, you would probably agree with me. If you are gonna stay on the floor, what I would tell you to do is kind of lean back on your arms, sitting on your butt, and then do it from that position. That will be a completely different stimulus and will actually begin to get you ready for doing this exercise from a hanging position. But if you are actually able to do that floor exercise, then I would much rather see you hang from a pull-up bar because you have to stabilize so much more just in a 360-degree realm when you're actually hanging than when you're stabilized by a floor, obviously. So once you're there, what I'd rather see you do now is start to take your knees, and instead of doing knee raises to the front, all I want you to do is start rotating them from side to side, left to right, right to left, just working it. Now, I really want you to start trying to raise those knees up as high as you can. Keep trying to work them more higher and higher towards your chest. Once you feel that you're confidently kind of consistently rolling yourself up, going side to side, now what I want you to do is something that I call rainbows or hanging rainbows. And that is you're just gonna drop your legs out straight and now start doing the same drill, like you're making a rainbow. You obviously want your legs to start coming higher and higher each rep, each set as you go further and further along, as you keep progressing. The higher that you can bring those legs and the more that you can curl your body up, the better off you're going to be as far as it goes in progressing towards actually doing a windshield wiper. Once you're able to do that pretty easily, now you just need to get vertical. The whole idea here is you need to be able to stabilize your body well enough, and hopefully all those other progressions have your grip strong enough that you're not gonna fall down on your head and kill yourself. But the whole idea of getting vertical is that you're hanging from the bar and your body is parallel to the ground, but now your legs are sticking straight up, pointing towards the ceiling. Once you're in that position, you are ready to start rotating side to side. I honestly would not even mess with rotating side to side until you can get in that completely vertical position. Once you're there, start taking it slow. Think about a clock. You're going from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Start working your way down until you can get further and further, start increasing your velocity, everything else. But guys, one thing I really want to mention, should have mentioned at the beginning of this video, is that every single one of these exercises should be treated just like you are breathing and bracing for a squat or a deadlift. You should not be doing these lazily. You should not be breathing your way through it. Every single core or ab or whatever exercise I do, I think about as breathing and bracing practice, not as like trying to get a six pack. It's literally just trying to get that breathing and bracing down as good as I possibly can, because it matters when you're doing a heavy set, whether you're in the middle of it as many reps as possible or going for a massive deadlift. The more times that you have taught your body how to correctly breathe and brace, the better and safer that you're gonna perform. That is paramount over everything whenever you're doing a core exercise, ab exercise, doing a plank, whatever it is, a pull-up, a sit-up, a squat, a deadlift, a bench press. You're always trying to get a huge belly breath and engage that core as much as possible, because that is gonna keep you safe and performing at your most optimal level. Guys, I really, really do enjoy making these videos, and I really hope they are helping you guys out. Guys, if you thought this sucked and you don't want to hear about the actual more traditional ab variations, you guys want to see those, definitely leave that in the comment section down below. If you don't want to see it, definitely let me know that as well. Guys, I never mind people giving me, you know, feedback and stuff. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. You're never gonna hurt my feelings. I don't care about thumbs down. That doesn't bother me. But what I do wanna know is, if you do leave a thumbs down, just tell me why. If it's because you hate my face, tell me you hate my face. If I talk too much, tell me if I talk too much, right? But my idea here is that I'm trying to make the best videos I possibly can, not to be big, rich, and famous. I'm pretty sure that's never gonna happen, but I do want to give as much benefit and value to you guys as I possibly can, because this is what's going to be left after I'm dead and gone. You guys are gonna be able to watch this, and your kids are hopefully gonna be able to learn some oblique variations, right? So I wanna make it as good as possible. So if you do have something, you know, constructive to say, please leave it below. If you wanna leave a thumbs down, absolutely do that. I'm happy that you do that. But tell me why. I'm a big boy, I can handle it. I do thank you guys for all the feedback. I really enjoy interacting with you guys in the comment section. Thank you to each and every single one of you who's bought my program recently. If you did, literally unless it was within a day or two, you should absolutely have your program. I have been absolutely cranking those out. I thank you guys so much for all the support there on social media, on Instagram, everywhere. You guys do too much. I'm humbled and I love it. So thank you guys very much for everything. I will catch up with you later in the week. Until I do, go out to something amazing in your lives. Keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.